Scottish Renaissance painted ceilings are decorated ceilings in Scottish houses and castles built between 1540 and 1640. This is a distinctive, national style, though there is common ground with similar work elsewhere, especially in France, Spain and Scandinavia. An example in England, at Wickham, Hampshire, was recorded in 1974. Most surviving examples are painted simply on the boards and joists forming the floor of the room above. Rooms or galleries in attic stories were fully lined with thin pine boarding and painted. The fashion was superseded by decorative plasterwork, and sometimes the painted ceilings were broken up to form lathing for the new plaster. Paint and painters. The paint used employed protein dyes with chalk and pigments, including natural ochres, vermilion, and orpiment, often mixed with indigo to form vibrant greens. The pine timber was imported from Norway. The names of many painters have been found in contemporary records, but as yet no painter of any particular surviving ceiling has been identified through archival research. However, it is recorded that in 1554, Edinburgh painters led by Walter Binning assaulted an outsider, David Walkman, who had been painting a ceiling. The Walkman family were settled at Burnt Island in Fife the 1590s. The Skelmorley Islet logs was signed by John Stalker, and initials IM painted at Delgaty Castle may be those of the painter John Mellor Melville. It appears that only the wealthiest of the merchant classes and aristocrats could afford this decoration, though the picture is unbalanced as more modest interiors do not survive. Types of patterns. The largest group of these ceilings have patterns of fruit and flowers, and may perhaps have evoked tapestry borders. Some ceilings in galleries at the top of buildings incorporated vignettes with biblical or emblematic scenes. Others employ Renaissance grotesque ornament including symbolic emblems. A gallery in a demolished building on Edinburgh's Castle Hill had scenes of the Apocalypse and Christ asleep in a storm, set in the Firth of Forth, with a backdrop of the Edinburgh Royal Mile skyline viewed from Fife. Fragments survive in storage at the National Museums of Scotland. Ceilings painted with rows of heraldic shields included the gallery at Earl's Hall and Colerney Castle, Fife, a ceiling at Linlithgow High Street, and Nunraw House, East Lothian. Several surviving examples can be seen in Edinburgh, including John Knox's house, Gladstone's Land, and the Canongate Tolbooth Museum. The birthroom at Edinburgh Castle was painted by James Anderson to commemorate the 50th birthday of James VI, and restored by Walter Melville in 1693. Gladstone's Land, dating from 1619, also has relatively well-preserved decoration on plaster contemporary with a ceiling. More extensive domestic mural painting survives at Kinneil House, dating from the 1550s, and painted for the Regent Arran, who employed Walter Binning on some of his projects. Aberdour Castle, Fife, has one of latest ceilings c. 1633, and Hunting Tower Castle, the earliest c. 1540. Ceilings at Craith's Castle are decorated with the Nine Worthies and the Muses, as at Craith's beams at Shook Warehouse and Sailor's Walk, Kirkcaldy, carry proverbial and biblical admonitions written in Middle Scots. A gallery at Provost Skene's House, Aberdeen, is similar in format to the Castle Hill painting at St. Mary's, Grantley, and the Skelmorley Islet logs. Two examples in churches are painted on the thin lining boards of wooden barrel vaults. Culross Palace, built by Sir George Bruce of Carnick, has a variety of painted interiors including suites of emblems, geometric patterns and biblical scenes. Other ceilings remain in private buildings, and a number of ceilings were salvaged and stored by Historic Scotland, including two from Dorset, Fife. The National Museum of Scotland displays a ceiling from Ross End Castle, Burnt Island, Fife, and a screen from Westerliverlands, near Stirling. Stirling Smith Museum and Art Gallery has a ceiling from Robert Drummond of Carnick's house. A room from Alexander Seton, 1st Earl of Dunfermline's Pinkie House, is displayed at Edinburgh's Huntly House Museum. Painted beams from Midhope Castle were moved to Abbey Strand, Edinburgh, and a ceiling from Preston Grange House is at Merchiston Tower, though these last two are not regularly open to the public. 2 rooms in the Hotel Masoni in Edinburgh still have painted ceilings from the original early 17th century tenement building on the Lawn Market. Painted ceilings concealed by later plasterwork continue to be discovered. A ceiling with grotesques and scrollwork of exceptional quality was found at Mowbray House on Edinburgh's Royal Mile in 1999. After restoration, the whole building was pledged as a gift to Historic Scotland by an American benefactor in 2012. Another ceiling on Edinburgh's Royal Mile was discovered in 2010. Bibliography by date. Jervis, Andrew. Poetical Maxims from an Old House at Gulross in Proceedings of the Society of Antiquaries of Scotland, Volume 2, 339–344. Jervis, Andrew. Painted Room at Earl's Hall in Proceedings of the Society of Antiquaries of Scotland, Volume 4, 387–91. T. Etherington Cook. Notice of heraldic ceiling found in Linlithgow in Proceedings of the Society of Antiquaries, Scotland, Volume 7, 409–413. Thomas Bonnar and Amp. George Waterston, Jr. in Edinburgh Architectural Association Sketchbook, Volume E. 1880–82. Coloured print of Culross Palace. Seton, George. Proceedings of the Society of Antiquaries of Scotland, Volume 22, 10–23. Notice of the gallery at Pinkie House. William Doby. The Skelmorley Isle Archaeological Collections. Ayrshire and Galloway, Vi, Edinburgh. Daniel Wilson. Memorials of Edinburgh in the Olden Time, Volume I, 194–201. Thomas Ross. Proceedings of the Society of Antiquaries, Volume 33, 387–403. Sibyls at Westerliverlands. Andrew S. Lyons, PSAS, Volume 35, 109–11. Montgomery Isle at Largs. Skelmorley Isle. Andrew S. Lyons, PSAS, Volume 38, 151–172. Tempera painting in Scotland. This PDF concludes with a newspaper cutting re. Old Gala House. Andrew S. Lyons. Further notes on tempera painting in Scotland, and other discoveries at Delgaty Castle, PSAS, Volume 44, 237–59. J. S. Richardson. Mural decorations at Kinneil, PSAS, Volume 75, 184–204. A. Gregg, PSAS, Volume 77, 147–154. The Painted Ceiling in Grantley Church. David McRoberts. Provost Skene's House in Aberdeen and its Catholic Chapel. Innes Review, Volume 5 pt. 2, 119–124. Michael Apted, PSAS, Volume 91, 144–176. 2 painted ceilings from Mary Somerville's house, Burnt Island, Fife. Edward Meldrum, PSAS, Volume 92. Sir George Skene's house in the Gestro, Aberdeen. Michael Apted. The Painted Ceilings of Scotland, HMS 0. Michael Apted and Amp. W. Norman Robertson, PSAS, Volume 104, 222 to 235, 2 painted ceilings from Ross End Castle, Burnt Island, Fife. Michael Apted.An, W. Norman Robertson, PSAS, Volume 106, 158 to 164, Drolleties from Preston Grange, East Lothian. Duncan Thompson, Painting in Scotland 1570 to 1650, National Galleries of Scotland, 42 to 49. Michael Apted.An, Susan Hannabus, Painters in Scotland, 1301 to 1700, A Biographical Dictionary, SRS. Sheila Mackay ed. Scottish Renaissance Interiors, Mowbray House, NTS, HHA. Palau de l'Almirall, Valencia, Generalitat Valenciana, 159 to 172, detailing a Spanish ceiling. John Cornforth, 3 Decades of Discovery, Country Life, 6 January 1994, 34 to 6. Michael Barth, Renaissance Decoration in Scotland, and MS, ISBN 1-901663-604. William K. in the Building Conservation Directory, Restoring the Magic to Laws Close, Kirkcaldy. Republished by Building Conservation.com. Michael Barth was there a Guy's Palace in Edinburgh. In Robert Gowing and Robin Pender eds. All manner of murals. The history, techniques and conservation of secular wall paintings. Michael Barth in Architectural Heritage, Edinburgh. 18. Ben Jonson, William Fowler.An, The Pinky Ceiling. Ailsa Murray, E-Conservation Magazine. 10. Scottish Renaissance Timber Painted Ceilings. Michael Pearce, Paint, chapter in Moses Jenkins ed. Building Scotland, John Donald pp. 91 to 103, ISBN 9780859767101. Michael Barth, Journal of the Northern Renaissance 2.1, Andrew Berham, Giovanni Ferrario and the Lighter Style of Painting. Chantal Helen Thur, Scottish Renaissance Interiors, Facings and Adhesives for Size Tempera Painted Wood. A. Cronin D. Sprout, Revealing the History, Timber-Framed Building at No. 302 Laundmarket, Edinburgh, in Journal of Architectural Heritage Society of Scotland, 22 pp. 19 to 36. Fern Inch, Recusants and the Rosary, a 17th-century chapel in Aberdeen, in Recusant History, Volume 31, No. 2. Michael Barth, Journal of the Northern Renaissance 5. Philostratus comes to Scotland, a new source for the pictures at Pinkie. Fern Inch, From Relegation to Elevation, the viewer's relationship with painted ceilings from the medieval to Renaissance eras in northeast Scotland, in British Archaeological Association Conference Transactions.